What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Franchise Empire weekly newsletter and live stream. Today, we have a resale that with a price that dropped down to $150,000. Interesting. We'll talk about 7-Eleven. Is a 7-Eleven worth the investment? Have you ever wondered how much money 7-Eleven franchisees make, or how much money those locations make? You ever wonder how much they cost to get open? What kind of fees they charge? Well, we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to break down all the numbers. Very fascinating. We'll talk about Kristina and Jacob. They're going from career professionals to business partners. And we'll also talk about opening a daycare center. So those are the items that we're going to cover in today's newsletter. But quickly, before we do, I have a short but important message. All right. Well, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Tarek Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of Franchise Empire. Usually, Mark is with me, our head of brokerage, and this makes the live streams way more entertaining and fun. It's actually been a good bit since I've done one by myself. It's usually with Mark, but just a little bit of a change in pace. And Mark's also up in the Boston area where they got crushed with snow. I think I heard from someone on our team that he didn't have power earlier, so hopefully he does. But all right, let's dive into this stuff. This will be shorter and sweeter today since it's just me, and I won't have the usual banter with Mr. Mark. That's right there. All right, so let's talk about our featured resale. And Mark is the one that put this together, so I'll do my best. But this one is in the Ann Arbor, Michigan area. If you are around that neck of the woods, then you may be interested in this specific franchise. Of course, the actual brand name is confidential for obvious reasons, guys. People that are selling their business don't necessarily want everyone to know, particularly on the internet, know that they're selling their business. And sometimes the brands specifically ask us to keep it confidential. So we as a matter of principle, we just do that now. It's the best way of going about it. But if you're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and you want to learn more about this resale, then you can reach out to us. Let me put up the little banner here. If you're interested in resale specifically. If you aren't in this area and you're thinking, hey, I want to know if there's any resales available in my area, then you can just go to that website down below and we can check for you. We have over 100 resales in our inventory. This specific one is in home services. The asking price is $150,000. It was lowered from $250,000. That is a significant price reduction. That is someone who wants to sell this business. The prior year gross sales reported from the owner was $504,000. They've been in business for 3 years. Generally speaking, guys, we talk about this, and resales are a whole other tricky animal. I know there's a lot of talks these days about buying a business, buying an existing business, buying a resale, and one of the things that's unique about us at Franchise Empire is we actually help clients with resales, but they can be really tricky and complicated. And sometimes just starting fresh is actually the easier way to go. But if this price was lowered $100,000 and based on the asking price, I would not imagine that this business is making a lot of money. Maybe it's profitable. Maybe it's not. We don't have access to the profit and loss statement. But if this was a business that you were interested in after signing an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, basically confidentiality agreement, you would be able to get connected with the seller so that you could look at the profit and loss statements and be able to break down the numbers and understand. But this franchisor owns several home service franchise businesses, all with proven systems and support. This is a significant opportunity to scale and grow through acquiring fellow franchisees or adding other brands. So something that happens that's very common in the franchise space is you can acquire your neighboring franchisees and build your own franchise empire. Get it? See what I did there? Proven model with excellent, experienced leadership, robust franchisee network for validation, and prior leadership and or management experience is a real plus. Yeah, basically, if you're going to buy a resale or an existing business, whether it's a franchise or not, you're going to put yourself in the best position to succeed if you have past leadership or management experience. If you don't, it's tricky. Again, the analogy that I always use is that you're stepping onto a moving train and then you're being asked to conduct it. And if you're not used to hiring people, firing people, dealing with training team members, team dynamics, all of that stuff, it's very difficult to just step into the moving system already. And then pre-approval financing is recommended. In this situation, by the way, if a business that you're looking to buy, if it's losing money, you cannot finance it. At least you cannot finance with SBA. Again, I don't know the specifics of this business, but if a business is losing money, you basically have to pay cash, or maybe you get an unsecured loan or a home equity line of credit, something that's not dependent upon them looking at the financials for the business. Basically, in order to get a loan on an existing business, that business needs to be able to show that it can support the debt payment, that the profits of the business allow you to support the debt payment. So the lower the purchase price, typically the least amount of money that the business is making. So that's our resale of the week. Again, if you're not in the area, Michigan, and you want to know what resales are available in your market, you can go to franchiseempire.com/resales. You'll be able to schedule a call with our team. And then if you're qualified, then one of our brokers can check and see what is available in your market. Super easy. Let's move on to the next, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, if you guys have any questions as we're going through this, feel free to drop it in the chat, whether you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube. Have any questions, drop it in the chat, and happy to take your questions at the end. But let's celebrate a new franchisee, aka franchise owner, that we helped over at Franchise Empire. Is that Howie? Is that his name? Howie Mandel? I think that's his name. I don't really watch TV. I assume AGT means America's Got Talent. So let's talk about Kristina and Jacob. So they worked with Chris on our team. And Chris has years and years of experience in franchising. Awesome guy. Kristina and Jacob were both feeling ready for a change, and Kristina had built a successful career in the medical writing and scientific world, but she wanted more independence and long-term growth. And Jacob, working in staffing, shared that vision as well. They wanted to create something together that they could build as a team. By the way, spouses can just be incredible couples in business together. I've known a good bit of like husband and wife duos that are able to crush it, because specifically if you have complementary skill sets, and you got to be able to work well together. Clearly, if you have a volatile relationship already, I would not recommend it. But if you guys are both normal, emotionally stable, mature individuals, could be a great option. So that's when they got connected with Chris on our team at Franchise Empire, and they started exploring a range of franchise opportunities with our team, right? And then narrowed in on what really mattered, really a simple, scalable model with strong systems and long-term potential. So they approached the process with a lot of clarity, said Chris on our team, and they were aligned as a couple, asked all the right questions, stayed focused on the big picture. That mindset made all the difference. And today they are officially franchisees. They are now franchise owners. And so just something here that may seem silly, but guys, clarity is power. I got that phrase from Tony Robbins. Love it. When you're hyper clear, it creates confidence. It's when you're not clear on what you want. Maybe I want this. I'm open-minded. Well, if you're on a road trip, if you're driving somewhere and you're open-minded, you could end up in Kentucky where you were trying to go is Florida, right? So what's important with business and making a decision on what business to choose is developing a specific criteria, like a magic wand situation. Like, what's important to me / us if you're doing this with your spouse, what's important in a business? What would we want? Well, we want to work with skilled labor. We don't want to work with teenagers. We want to be in a business that we can scale and grow and not have to build out physical locations. Like there's all sorts of specific criteria points that you can build that help to narrow the your options. And so this is one of the key things that really makes a huge difference when we start working with individuals versus when they're trying to work by themselves and just Googling random franchises, is the level, like our process, our systematic process of helping them get clear. And then being able to bridge that gap of, okay, now that clarity and that criteria, how does that translate then into actual franchises that have a good track record, that are available in your area, that align with your skill set, that align with your budget? As you can imagine, it could be like finding a needle in a haystack sometimes, and that's our specialty. So, congratulations, Kristina and Jacob. Super exciting. Yeah, really excited for you guys. Okay, let's talk about the franchise of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Franchise of the week. So we're continuing on our series. By the way, before I jump into the franchise of the week, if typically we do this on Wednesdays. I'm doing this on Monday today. Typically, Mark and I do it on Wednesdays. I'm doing this on Monday because pretty much actually our whole brokerage team is going to be in town. They're all traveling on Wednesday. We're doing 2 days of recording together. It's going to be awesome. We're going to record so much amazing content for you guys. And so, yeah, we're going to be setting up for that event, which is why I'm recording it today. Oh, where was I going with that? My goodness. So typically you would have to wait until Wednesday to see this, but we send out this entire newsletter. We send this out. This is literally the email version of it. The preview email version of it. We send this out Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. So if you are not on our list and you don't get this, then go to that link down below, franchiseempire.com/newsletter, and you'll get it in your inbox 8 a.m. every Sunday morning, like clockwork. All right, let's talk about franchise of the week. Good old 7-Eleven. I don't know if you want to call it good old 7-Eleven, but 7-Eleven. You guys ever have Poppy? This prebiotic soda, like healthy soda. It's delicious. I really like it. I don't drink soda outside of this thing. I didn't really drink soda before it. And it's delicious. And it's healthy, I guess. It's only got 5 grams of sugar. So I like it. I had a friend over yesterday, and they gave their kids soda. Their daughter's 5. They were giving them like Pepsi. I'm like, bro, how are you giving your child soda? And what's funny is my buddy's like doing this health thing and eating all healthy. And I'm like, you give your kid soda, your 5-year-old soda? That is wild to me. And not and the caffeinated version, not even caffeine free. It just boggled my mind. I didn't even know that was a thing. All right, let's talk about 7-Eleven. So 7-Eleven is an interesting franchise, guys. You can drive a mile in almost any city and pass multiple 7-Elevens. And that kind of density is not an accident. It is the result of one of the most aggressive and controversial franchise growth strategies ever built. By the way, I made a video about 7-Eleven a while ago. And some of the controversies surrounding it, I'm going to do my best to find it and post a link to it before we end this, by the way. So 7-Eleven. So the backstory. Back in 1927, they started out as an ice business, guys, an ice business. But customers kept asking for basics like milk, bread, and eggs, so the owners added a few shelves of everyday items alongside the ice. Here's one of the lessons here. For those of you, if you wind up buying a franchise, cool. If you wind up starting your own business, cool. Whatever it is that you wind up doing to build your empire, cool. That's great. But you can start out not having it all figured out, right? What I've learned is the difference between people who become successful as entrepreneurs. They get started. They fail forward, and the difference between the wantrepreneurs or the people who just wind up typically not becoming successful as an entrepreneur is they typically like overthink things and want to have everything figured out before they take action. You just got to get going messy. Asal said, I love poppy soda. I tried it the other day and I'm a fan. Yeah, it's delicious. The only thing is it's expensive. I personally don't care. Whatever, I like it, so I'll buy it. But I think they're like $2 to $3 a can, basically. I bought a 12-pack. I don't know how much. I don't know how much it was, but I bought it because I like it. All right. So as demand grew, the brand leaned into what made it different, which was accessibility and hours. So in 1946, it rebranded as 7-Eleven, highlighting the fact that it was open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And a few years later, one location near a college campus pushed the idea of even further by staying open 24 hours a day. The concept worked, and 24/7 convenience became the new standard. I remember someone on the internet, I had read either a comment or something. They were like, "Why is there a numeric 7, but 11 is spelled out?" I don't know. I think that's weird. That's funny. That's a good catch. Kind of interesting. What do you guys think? Why do you think that they have a numeric 7 and spell out the word 11, like just to stand out? Yeah, very interesting. And by the way, having a business that's open 24 hours a day is terrible. I don't know. Maybe you think it sounds good because you're open longer and you can. That's the longer you're open, the more revenue you can generate. But guys, the longer you're open, the more staffing you need. And yeah, it's challenging. When I owned my food franchises, juice and smoothie, really. I mean, we were open, let's see, summertime, we would open at like 6 or 6:30 a.m. and we'd be open till 8 or 9 p.m. So that's what 12, that's about 14 of 16 hours that we were open. It's a lot of hours. And you need, depending upon, the peak time, that 11 a.m. to like 3 o'clock kind of shift. I mean, we would need 3-4 people there. So yeah, there's some pros and cons to that. Andrea, I hot the apple flavor. Oh, you got the apple flavor on sale. Nice. Yeah, I like the strawberry lemon. The strawberry lemon is my favorite one for sure. I just bought a full case of that flavor. I've tried a bunch of the other ones. All right, so franchising poured fuel on the expansion. 7-Eleven scaled faster than almost any retail brand before it. And they would place stores extremely close together, as you've probably seen. I mean, it's kind of like how Subway does, which is, I think it's, kind of messed up personally. It's just that, you cannibalize each other, but that strategy helped them dominate markets, but it also sparked a lot of criticism around territory protection and franchise cannibalization. And today, the result is unmistakable. Over 86,000 locations worldwide, making 7-Eleven the largest franchise system on the planet, bigger than McDonald's, Starbucks, and Subway combined. That's crazy. And, I truly think in some of these businesses, I definitely think that with like the brand is basically just saying like, screw it. We don't care. It's less the profitability of our individual franchisees is less important to us than just top line revenue and growing and just being everywhere. Because basically they're still going to make their royalty money. And I think it's messed up. Subway did it too. And their average store sales were terrible. Then they stopped having an item 19 where they showed their average store sales. And then they closed down over the last 5 years. They closed down, I think, 30 to 40% of their 35% of their stores. Subway did. Like, why would you put locations that close to each other? Don't you want to give people an opportunity to be successful? Wild. 7-Eleven did the same thing. All right, so let's talk about the numbers, right? That's what you want. And by the way, I found the 2 videos. I made 2. I made one in 2022 and one in 2024. I'll drop the link to both at the end of this. Total initial investment ranges from $142,000 to $1.6 million. The franchise fees range from $0 up to the franchise fee ranges from $0 up to $1.1 million. 1.1 million higher fees reflect large territories, market, or multi-unit deals, because that could be like someone buying a state or a geographic area, the rights to these specific areas. Royalty structure. It's a variable percentage calculated on gross profit, not sales. Okay, well, that's better. At least your royalty is not charged on sales and it's charged on your gross profit. I would imagine they have to do it this way because, in a retail business, guys, there's basically like no margin. The margin's very small. So you'd have to do it on the gross margin, because what happens if, let's say you buy a Snickers bar, wholesale, your cost is, let's just say $1, and then you sell it for $1.20. Your margin is, you're getting $1.20 in sales. But the actual gross profit that you're generating, right? Gross profit is basically taking your cost of goods from the total sale price. Your gross profit is 20 cents or 20% in that case, which is very, very low. So if they were to charge a 7% royalty on $1.20, well, they would be taking 30% of the gross profit, which would be crazy. It wouldn't make sense. So, in case you were wondering how that all works, largest worldwide. I know, it's crazy. Most people don't know that. We do a trivia every week with our team. We do an all-team meeting with everyone on our team for 45 minutes, and we do a trivia every time. It's really fun, and I think there are a lot of people on our team said McDonald's. I knew the answer because I think we had already made a video on 7-Eleven, so it's kind of cheating. But marketing fee is 1% of the gross profit per month. We're not going to talk about ideal franchise candidate. This is interesting. So my goodness, this is from their item 19. This is specifically Illinois, and they show full year. This is so small. You guys there's no chance that you can probably read this. I have a giant screen in front of me, and it's still hard to read. Full year 2024, they're showing basically 80 stores in each top third, middle third, bottom third. The bottom third, 1.3 million in average gross sales. Middle third, 1.7 million. And the top third, 2.3 million. Average gross profit. Number of stores that average gross profit of the subset, 503,000 for the bottom third, 673,000 for the middle third, 954,000 from the top third. Average gross profit as a percentage. Interesting. So overall, the average gross profit is somewhere between 38 to 40%, which is very surprising. Very, very surprising. I would have thought that the gross profit was much lower. But guys, keep in mind, gross profit just represents, in most businesses, the gross profit margin. So let's just call it 40% flat. That's after deducting just labor and your cost of goods. So how much did it cost you for you to buy the product, as well as like what's your labor cost? Or sometimes labor costs may not be in there. Because labor cost, if it's not labor that it actually that it took to make the product, it may not be included. So it gets tricky if you understand like financial statements and profit and loss statements. It's important that you do, by the way, especially if you're going to buy a franchise or plan to run a business. You need to know your numbers and how they work and how to maximize your margins. But you still have to pay rent after that. So you got your 40% gross profit. That's not including like rent and utilities and all these other expenses afterwards. So, for someone who's uneducated in a business standpoint, I'm not throwing you any shade. I'm not saying you're uneducated, just from a business standpoint and understanding the financials of businesses. Then if you see 40% gross profit, you're like, what? I'm going to make 40% on this business? No, you're not, because that's not net. That's gross profit. So that's that. That's 7-Eleven, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, if you're thinking, hey, Tarek, you just spent all of this time really not painting it as a very attractive opportunity. And you're like, I would love to know what are the attractive opportunities. Then if you're qualified, if you're someone that has, let's say, bare minimum $200,000 net worth or higher, our average client really is closer to like the 500,000 million net worth. But there's a lot of options. And if you have a net worth of at least like 300,000, there's some solid service brand options out there. Anyways, I digress. If you want to know what are some good options available in your area that fit within your budget, that align with your skill sets, then you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. You'll be able to have a call with our team. And then if it makes sense, they can show you specific franchise options that they've confirmed are available in your desired geographic area. Ooh, kids are awesome. Kids are awesome. Our little ones bring us so much joy, and hostility. It's like a zoo. They're wild. How to start a daycare business. I got to tell you guys, I love this business model, the daycare business model. Would I personally run a daycare? No, I don't have close to the amount of patience that is needed. But I would hire someone who does love being around kids and who could run it. And recurring revenue. We just spent, I don't know if it was the last live stream newsletter we did or a couple weeks ago, we broke down a specific daycare. It was the Learning Center. Mark and I talked about this, but episode number 160, there you go. It is the Learning Center, except this is the video. So you can watch the video of me. This one's shorter, nice and clean, strong production value. It's just like a 6 or 8 minute video breaking down the Learning Center. How much money does it cost to open? How much money do the locations make? And whether it could be a good investment. So go check that out. You can watch it on YouTube on our Franchise Empire YouTube channel. It's in a ad because it doesn't link to my YouTube Red, where I don't pay for commercial, where I pay so I don't have to watch commercials. But is this daycare a good investment? You can see it's our Franchise Empire YouTube channel, which continues to grow and is exciting. So that's it. Let's see. Do we have any questions? No, I don't see any. Trivia is always fun. Yeah, trivia is super fun. Cool. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for joining and tuning in. Oh, let me make sure to drop those videos of 7-Eleven. So here, I'll drop it here. I'm dropping this one first. This is the one from 2022. And it's still pasting. An error occurred to get the link in Facebook. Okay, that's fine. And then this is the link for the video 2024. This one's called The Controversial Rise of 7-Eleven. And the one from 2022 is called The Dangers About Owning a 7-Eleven Franchise. Ooh, sounds ominous, doesn't it? All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next week on Wednesday, I believe. Yeah. Take care.